My son Hayes got a hoop workout in, and I was watching the end of Central Florida's win over Oklahoma State on my phone, and then shot with him for a little bit after his workout. And then we started having a discussion about the NBA. And if you know young Hayes Gottlieb, a lot of his opinions are formed, especially on basketball. Okay, and he loves this idea of hot takes. I got a hot take for you, Dad. Celtics are the best team in the NBA. What do you think? I was like, well, they have the best record in the East. I don't know if that's that hot of a take, but okay. He's like, well, who do you think the best team is? He's like, what do you think about the Minnesota Timberwolves? I was like, I like them. It's like, I think the Thunder are the best in the West. I was like, well, I'm going to go with the Clippers. Really? Yeah. So I walk in to my home, and the Laker-Clipper game is on, and it's like midway through the third quarter. And I hadn't been paying attention, and I look up, and I'm like, wow, the Lakers appear dead in the water. And if you've picked up a dead animal dead in the water or something else offends you, again, just a commonly used expression. But it was bad. I mean, really bad. And so I'm sitting there going, man, are they tired? Have they played on back-to-back nights? Are the Clippers just better? Right? I was at a Laker-Clipper game earlier this year, and it was much the same, where the Clippers hopped out to a big lead, and the Lakers came back and won. And then all of a sudden, LeBron James stays in the fourth quarter when the Clippers sub, and he starts hitting a shot, and another shot, and another shot, and another shot. And then the crowd got behind him, and I had a bunch of people who were watching the game, and it was like, wait, it's at Staples, or now Crypto, but it's technically the Clippers' home night, which looks different. The lighting's different, the mood's different, the atmosphere's different. But you know what's the same is the Lakers are still more popular, and it became like a Laker home game all of a sudden. But I'm going to warn you about something. Okay, I am not saying LeBron James wasn't anything other than otherworldly. And it was hey, Kawhi and the Clippers have been better all season. Kawhi's the better player right now consistently in his career. But LeBron James had 34 points, 19 of which in the fourth quarter, and was at a plus 11 in the plus minus. And I thought back, somebody else brought this up earlier on the show in regards to somebody else, and maybe it was with LeBron James. There's Toby Keith passed away about 2 weeks ago. And Toby had a lot of songs. One of my favorites was the song, I Ain't As Good As I Once Was, But I'm As Good Once As I Ever Was. And I thought that was perfect for last night. LeBron James is not, nor should he be expected to be, the elite superstar, top 5 in the league, maybe top 5 in league history, guy who's going to score 40,000 points. He ain't expected to be peak LeBron. And the percentage of times in which he can play peak LeBron has gone down, which we got to be reasonable for. He ain't as good as he once was, but he's as good once as he ever was. And that's the fear that other teams deal with in the playoffs. Right? They're like, man, we don't want to get into a game 6 or a game 7. He still gets the respect of the officials. We've seen the numbers where they don't drive that much, yet they get more calls than anybody else in the league. When you have the league's biggest star, LeBron is the league's biggest star. That's going to happen. But you don't want to get in one of these playoff games with the Lakers because he does have it in him. He can't do it for all 7 games. He probably can't do it for 4 games. But when it clicks, when the energy's there, when the shot's falling, not a lot you can do. Not a lot you can do. But similarly, it's the opposite for the Lakers. That's fool's gold. You convince yourself, the old man still got it. And he does, but not every night. Not every night. He can still defend, not every possession. And the percentage of times in which you can do it goes down and down and down. And I even think he intimidated Kawhi Leonard late in that game. Kawhi Leonard had the ball with 10 seconds to go. Actually, he had it with 15 seconds to go. He's dribbling the ball up the court. and they're down a point. And he passed the ball to James Harden, who then passed it right back to him like, what are you doing? You're the guy. Take over the game, right? And that's when the Clippers called a timeout. Now, eventually, out of the timeout, they got the ball to Kawhi Leonard, who missed a shot. That's his shot, right? It's the like curling jump shot, 15 feet on the baseline. You know, he famously made the three-point shot, which we were talking about last night, against Joel Embiid and the Sixers when he's playing in Toronto. A more difficult shot, but he made that one, missed that one last night, and, you know, you lose the game. And that's where you go, well, you tip your cap. It's a make or miss league. Like, no. You had the ball with LeBron James. Why'd you have to call a timeout? Now, keep in mind, all of this was without Paul George. And so, in spite of the fact that the Lakers won the game, if you think the Lakers can win in the NBA playoffs with LeBron James and that, again, all of that said, the game was over. The Clippers didn't have Paul George. Like, well, I don't know, end of game, Paul George. Okay, but when Kawhi Leonard comes out normally at the start of the fourth quarter, Paul George can remain in, and there's no foot off the gas pedal. So this isn't me saying LeBron hasn't been great and wasn't incredible last night. This is me saying, one, this is what NBA teams fear about the Lakers, is they don't really think they're all that good, but man, when they are, and when LeBron's got it going on, nothing you can do. And then the opposite is true of the Lakers and the predicament they're going to be in the offseason, which is, are you really thinking that's going to happen less and less and less often, not more and more and more often? It's just reasonable. And that's if you can maintain being healthy and you're 40 years old. He has the greatest history of longevity in this league. He's a great player. And because he keeps himself in peak physical condition, you almost have to say age is just a number because he doesn't play like a man his age. But when you really dig in deep, he doesn't guard like he used to. He's not consistent in terms of his movement. He picks his spots. And when he has it, he's amazing. But the amount of times that he has it, well, those are going to decrease over time. That's the essence of it. Have we seen guys fall off completely? Yes. Jason Kidd's last playoff series with the Knicks, if you remember, he couldn't even make a layup. But with LeBron, it's just more gradual. And it's a percentage play. The Lakers are still 10.5 games out of, the top. They're still, 2 games away from the Kings in terms of staying out, getting out of that 8 seed. They're still in the playoff series. And yes, they came back and won the game, but they were down 21 points without Paul George playing for the Clippers for a reason. And if you ever thought that Toby Keith's songs didn't connect with you, I give you, I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was.
Could we chat about the Michael Jordan comparison now? The Jordan v. LeBron debate, which is pretty tired, but don't you have to give LeBron this part of it, that he's much better now at 38 or 39 than MJ was in his final 2 seasons with the Wizards, right? I mean, MJ, I think he averaged 20 points, but it was kind of like man, check this guy out. He's still averaging 20 points. But like LeBron can still put performances up like that he did last night. And he seems like he's still 2 or 3 years. I mean, he's still going to be playing for 2 or 3 years. You have to give him that part of the whole MJ debate, don't you?
Yes, I would. I would say there's a little difference there, okay? And this is important. Okay? Michael Jordan's last year playing, he was 39 years old. He played every game. And I think he played in a bad wheel, right? And but he played every game on a bad team. And it was one of those, again, this will sound like an excuse. It's an explanation. Because I believe that if LeBron played every game, his numbers would be far lower. It's one of the actual geniuses to LeBron James is they've done this for a long time, in that they've managed his number of games played, and that keeps his average up. Okay? Because you also ask yourself, like, well, if you're trying to dial back LeBron, like, and he's still going to work out, like, just have him play like 15 minutes in a night, 20 minutes a night. Problem when you play 15, 20 minutes is you can't score. You just don't. You can't accumulate the volume of touches and shots and possessions. And yes, you can rest yourself, but you can't anyway. So they just have had him not play. The other part to it was he was legit retired for 3 years. And your body atrophies and all this stuff atrophies, whereas LeBron has kept going. But yeah, I'm okay saying that. Like, yeah, he's better at 39 than Jordan was. Okay, circumstances are different. One's on a team that's put together to try and win now, has another superstar on his team. The other one, Jordan, it was a team that he helped put together. It was a mess. He had retired previously, and he played every game. And by playing every game, it's going to wear you down more, especially when you're at 39 years old. And he did have some games in which he exploded. That's if you look at Jordan that year, you'd be like, oh well, there was a couple of games which he had, but no, he did not have it nearly as much as LeBron, quote unquote, has it. And you can, by the way, pull up his game log and see he had 33 on the 18th of February. This is Michael Jordan. He had 32 against Orlando. He had 45 on a night against New Orleans. He had 43 against the Nets. Heck, and that was in February. Well, last night was what, February 28th? On February 27th, 2023, 21 years ago, Michael Jordan had 35 points. He had 11 rebounds and 6 assists in a win over Houston.
With the likes of Kwame Brown, Christian Laettner, and Jerry Stackhouse.
You want to know who played with him that night? Let's look. Hold on. One more time. I get you the exact box score. Okay, here's the box score. Michael Jordan. Where's Michael Jordan? There we go. Michael Jordan, yes. Other starters were Jerry Stackhouse had 28. Tyronn Lue was his starting point guard, ironically enough, right? Brendan Haywood, come on, B didn't pee a drop. He had 0 points as a starting big guy. Stackhouse had 28 and Christian Laettner. They played Juan Dixon off the bench and Charles Oakley. He got his boy Oakley one last gig too. There's got to be some great stories there. Kwame Brown, Larry Hughes, Byron Russell. Man, he had Brian Russell off the bench. That's got to be cruel. How many times do you think he mentioned to him the game-winning shot in Utah? Every day. Bobby Simmons and my boy Jahidi White. Jahidi's a good dude. He played at
Long Beach State.
No, Jahidi White was, Brian Russell's Cleveland High School and Long Beach State. There you go. There's the depth of my knowledge. Jahidi White played at Georgetown. That's a big, strong dude, man. Anyway, he didn't play. And they played against the Houston Rockets. The Rockets, you ready for it? Katino Mobley had 24. Yao Ming had 16. Stevie Francis was 1 of 13.
Stevie Franchise.
Played every minute. It was an overtime game. Played 50 minutes. Eddie Griffin, who died, right? Eddie Griffin died. And James Posey. That was the starting lineup. Joaquin Hawkins, J-Hawk, who he runs a program in Long Beach. He had 10. Maurice Taylor came out the bench. Glenn Rice, Moochie Norris, Kelvin Cato, Tito Maddox. Wow, these are some names right here. 21 years ago. So you could sit there and go like, well, I think LeBron is. I think it's fair, Chase, too. If we want to take 39-year-old seasons, that's fair. We also should contextualize it. And one team is better than the Lakers. It's a playoff caliber team. They have Anthony Davis. There is no Anthony Davis on this team. I guess Jerry Stackhouse, but he's not. Jerry Stackhouse has never been a top 5 player in the league. Anthony Davis has. And he played every night. Whereas the smarter thing to do to average more points, to have more energy, is to play 2 out of every 3 nights, which is what LeBron's doing. Like LeBron, they play tonight too, right? And like suddenly, like now LeBron has, well, his ankle might flare up. Like, no, he's just old. Everything hurts. You need an extra day. Okay. There's the difference. But he was unbelievable. And then they tried double teaming him, and his teammates were hitting shots, and they were moving without the basketball. That was something to watch. That was really, really special. That was cool to watch. And I thought that what he said after the game was so appropriate. Hey, like game's not over until there's double zeros on the clock.